Right. God eftermiddag. Good afternoon, everybody. Are you awake? Yes. Great. Yeah, I had a lot of coffee, and now I'm here. As I told earlier, I do not come from this world of jazz, um, but these girls do, and they are called Esther's Orchestra. They are young girls from Denmark. And I had the great opportunity to actually interview one of the girls about her career as a jazz musician. She plays the piano. And I did that because that's part of how I work. That's one of my tools. So let's try to listen a little to the jazz. Maybe it's only me who's interested because I don't hear it every day. But this is the sound of the next generation. So let's listen just a little. Makes my blue mood grow and grow. I don't know if you see what is going on below. And if you think my face looks different, think my face has changed, it's not very odd, no, it's not very strange. If you think my face looks different, think my face has changed, it's not very odd, no, it's not very strange. I'm first seen. And I'm sorry that I can't just take away the sound like this. It will be very brutal like this. Oh, actually, we're trying to help me out. Thank you. See, look at these girls. And while you do that, I'd like to just say 3 things about what I'd like to tell you about. I'm an audience developer because that's where we all started, being audience, unless you were Justin Bieber, I think. And that's why I interviewed this young jazz pianist who's called Barbara. And I'll tell her a lot about her because that is one of the things I do. I use outreach strategies. It's very simple. My tools are very old-fashioned measurements. I use asking questions to get to know people's desires, and then I try to fulfill them together with them, and together with the people in the organization that I work with. And that can be a theater, or that can be jazz musicians, or that could be, as it is for now, libraries in the suburbs trying to get the people in the nearby ghettos to participate more. Not that they don't, they actually attend the libraries very much, but we'd like them to do more than just come by and do like this and then leave again. So I both use outreach strategies, which means reaching out, and you probably heard it before. And then I use in-reach, which is what we've been taught a little about this morning, or in the beginning today, and also with Nanna from British Council. So I'll bring 2 examples to you. One is from a theater thing I did, where I engaged the inhabitants of one of these ghettos to make theater about their past and their future dreams. Not their past dreams, but their past, their childhood. And then maybe this is my mistake, the sharing of mistakes today. Thing we did at the library, or we are starting out doing it. So we are doing mistakes here on our path to it. We try to attract men and boys to libraries because they simply don't come. They don't think it's interesting and they hate books. So we try to attract them now with a group we call Gentlemanship and Jackasses. And even though we think it sounds really cool, we haven't really got there yet. I continue with these, but look at these girls. What do you think? Try to remember what you think when you look at this picture, and then this is what they hear all the time when they play. "Oh, how sweet you all look." It's a typical reaction from the audience that 22-year-old pianist Barbara and the other 4 young women get when they have a job playing their own music composed in their jazz band Esther's Orchestra. And it's a reaction that Barbara has 2 different responses to. One is it makes her proud that the audience hear and see that they are just as good as the boys. And the other one is boys would never get that kind of reaction. Then it would be more like, wow, great solo. She would love to hear that one day. But she also knows what it takes, and she's not really sure she wants to pay that price. She said to me, girls don't play solos, they are one organism. So even though Barbara and Esther's orchestra never play as many solos as boys do, she would like to do it. But that is both because they don't play solos, both because they don't think they're ready to throw a bunch of solos yet, and because their solos are not perfect. And because they think that solos are way overrated and takes too much space in concerts. The girls in Esther's orchestra wants to create total experience for the audience, and as Barbara says, we have been praised for being an organism. She proudly states that. But, and this is the best part, she's very aware about the dilemma in here. So I will return to Barbara's dilemma and give you an impression of her. And remember, every time I look into these papers, it's because it's Barbara's voice, not mine, not my conclusions. Yeah. I'm a big consumer of art myself. I cannot really live without art as literature or stage art, music and art. All of the mentioned above crossed together and mixed. And I just want to emphasize for you, many people really don't feel the same way as I do, or maybe you. They really couldn't care less and they don't give a damn. And this is where I come in, because the thing is they don't really feel welcome, and worst of all, they don't really feel that it has anything to do with them and their lives. And this doesn't really make sense to me, because I don't want to enjoy all this art alone, and I don't want to enjoy it with you only. Not because I don't like you, and it's not because I'm a saint. It's more because I easily get bored if art stagnates or don't develop, or if it's copying itself. You probably know this. You go to a concert and you think, been here, done that. I love art, but I can also leave it if I don't really think it moves on. We need art to develop. Art is you right now. You realize that. So audience development, what is that, and how do we use it, and why? We have been around this today. So this is the reasons why people don't come. I just emphasize that they don't feel welcome, or they maybe don't think it has anything to do with their lives, or they don't know where it is. It's very simple and practical. Maybe some of you recognize this building. It's the Swedish concert hall, right? Stockholm, sorry. And as far as I understand, there should be, and now you should not do like this, a jazz festival or some concerts in there. Youth Jazz Festival. See, this picture really calls for youth. I mean, this building is exactly where I would go if I was 22. And it's not that I say that it's the wrong building. I think it's the right place to go, because this is the place. Let's take the youth to the right place. But if you don't know about Youth Jazz Festival and you came by, would you then think, wow? So I love these little marketplaces down here, and I think you should keep them and have jazz outside to attract people to come in. And this is a major part about don't knowing where it is. Very often we sit back, and I've been working in theater, so this I know for sure, saying, why don't they come? And then we say, they don't know what they're missing. Instead of going out where people are and give them what we have, the best we have. And maybe even go further and try to develop things together with the audience. I did that in the suburbs of Copenhagen. These two persons standing here are playing theater in their own suburb about their private life. Here they are playing The Earth is Poisoned. Maybe you know, Jorden er giftig. It's a thing we did when we were children. They told me about their childhood, that when they grew up in the suburbs, they would have no really place to go, and then they would go out and play in the playground. All children do. And then they would talk about gay Peter who would lure children into his apartment. And they would talk about psychopath Lone who would kill children if you would go to her apartment. And these stories, these myths, actually was delivered to the next sibling and the next sibling. So when I came 20 years after, they still believed that gay Peter and psychopath Lone was there. And we talked about it. And then they realized this is Arso and Tefik. They realized they probably never was there. And then Tefik said to me, I actually think there is a gay here. But I don't think that he rapes children. And I said, I don't know. Why don't you ask? So he did. He went there and he knocked on his door and he asked him. Peter's not on this picture. But he was actually very happy to confirm that he does not rape children, and yes, he's gay. This I did with these young people, because in the suburbs we have this traditional problem that the young people always disturb and they hang out in the pass systems around it, and then they probably rob the older people, and you know all the things. And then I said, so why don't we make all the things that you do visible instead of making them invisible? So we make a theater in the places where you hang around. And then we invite people on a tour, sightseeing to your invisible places. And then I invited two rap musicians that they really love, Eli Sufi and Afshin Fukuchi, really good musicians, to make the sound. And I invited a journalist called Ayan Mohammed, that is my mentee, to lure out the stories. For instance, the one about rape Peter, gay Peter, and then an actor, very young, with much more energy than me, to make it all happen, to perform their own stories, and they did, and it was really nice. Not all of the old people came. But it didn't matter, I found out, later on, because what happened was everybody knew that it had taken place, because it was in the neighborhood where they live. So they came the next time we did something. And the very lovely thing was, of course, that I created not only amateur performers, I also created audience for art. And this is actually the best part. So can I use art as a democratic tool? Yes, it's very easy. The only thing is, don't start there. Don't think, I think I'll use art for democratic tools. Just know that this is what you do, because then it will happen. And never say it out loud, especially not to these people, because they fucking hate integration when it comes to that level. And I don't blame them. when we started out today and you said, try to turn to the next person, the person sitting next to you and say, what a nice blue skirt you're wearing. I totally don't mind. I came to think about a lesbian girl I know that really hates that. Because it is exactly what you said or stated. It's other people showing power. It has nothing to do with respect or even acceptance. And these young people have the same feeling. Yeah, inclusion. Yeah, this also I have to state for you. You can read it yourself, but of course it's totally stupid to compare having more women or girls in jazz milieu with the inclusion of all kind of ethnicity like this. It's not an equal thing. And now you listen to Hannah from British Council, you know that there are different issues to attend, and there are different ways to go. So this I just have to stress for you that I, of course, do not do. Here's Barbara again. See. She said to me that she knows what it takes, the price she doesn't want to pay. She says, you need to attend concerts, go backstage and say, hi, I'm great, just as your guys. Call me next time. But she does not think at herself as a musician. She's more a listener that gets inspiration. She tells me that in order to become a jazz musician that actually earn money, you would have to be willing to play not so high profile jobs, just like the boys. And they mingle and they get contacts and they teach on the side. They dare to take chances. And that is the price that I talked about earlier. And that is the price that Barbara don't want to pay. Plus, and this is very, very important, she feels like a fish in the water where she is now, which is university. Because when Barbara was applying for Music Academy, she was let in at university, and she loves the theoretical thing, and she's very nerdy, and that she loves about her study. Maybe it's a bit about what you talked about before, Lars, the nerdiness and the concentration. She loves that. So, and then there's another fact. She knows that she can get a comforting, steady, and lovely job afterwards. She's not really sure about that, becoming a professional musician. So Barbara realized during our interview that the girls at her study deep down look upon themselves as on a different level than the boys. I don't know whether it's lower, it's just a different. She really enjoys her science of music study. She says she's performing now and she's crossing boundaries. And she can see that the girls feel more under pressure than the boys when it comes to, for example, rehearsing the things that they have done themselves. And this is where she said to me, I feel a bit unusual here because I feel like a fish in the water. I know I love it. And she said she knows that many girls question their own inner nerd because they came from a place where once they were the very best. But so did Barbara. She also came from such a place. And now she said something that really was interesting for me. I hate to sound like I show off because I need the girls. She actually thinks she's a very good pianist. Actually, she thinks she's one of the very best. But she would hate to be called arrogant because she needs her own sex to identify with. And the community gives her extremely much, even though she seeks the boys more now because she moved forward in her musical company. Barbara also started at something likely what Lars introduced. It was called Pigelinjen, the line for girls at her high school. And the motto was, to dare. At her high school, it's Sankt Anne, for those who knows that, two music teachers, women, wondered about what we talk about today. So they had governmental funding for 4 workshops for girls only, and the teachers were only professional women musicians because they also wanted role models. So it was Christine Dahl, and it was Lisbeth Diers, and it was Marie Curie, who's very famous today and wasn't back then. And the role models taught the girls to form the music together, and the girls were given a professional network on a silver plate. And the girls heard that family life and a life as a professional musician is possible. But most important, they learned that it is all about the motto, to dare. The project ended with a jazz concert. And Barbara now was aware that what held her back before was that, and to some extent also today, her lack of self-confidence, and because she's shy. It's not her skills and it's not her professional level, because that's very high, she admits. And she also realized that it was more comforting to play together with girls because, as she said, boys maybe play like hell, but they continue and they're not afraid of showing almost perfect things. We never are. So after high school, she took a year of rhythmic scholarship at a højskole, Danish invention, and here she met the 4 other girls that you heard. And as I talked more and more with Barbara, I realized that Esther's Orchestra is also a story about perfection. They really want perfection. And the thing they do with solos and improvisation is that they very democratically divide them between them, which means beforehand they make deals. So today I make this solo because I rehearsed it. And it's not that I can't improvise, but I'd like to have a perfect solo. Rather that than a not perfect solo and 3 in a row. Right. This is questions for you. Try to imagine that you are the audience, because you were once and you very often are. Thank you. I love this French word, raison d'être. How do you justify what you do? And this I really love, and we asked ourselves that in the theater milieu. The theater is actually 2,000 years old. It's a bit more than you. But the story is that it's been developing and developing. So if you should invent the jazz milieu today, all over, how would you do it? And how would you like it to be? And you can read it, but why do we work the way we do? Why do we work exactly like this? Because it's not that different from how it started, is it? And the last one is very important also. I ask myself that almost every day, especially in terms of norms and boxes. What function do you have? Because my function is to try to kick those boxes every day at the library. And sometimes I get a bit lonely doing it, because the rewardness of being inside a box is comforting and it's safe and you stay together. Barbara again. Yeah, she told me that they brand themselves as 5 young women because it arouses people's curiosity, and it worked. So they got a job in Berlin, and they went on a tour bus, and it was great fun. They really had a nice time. And I asked her about quotas, because that is something that I have to say like this. I'm Danish, quotas. We don't like them. We very seldom discuss quotas in Denmark. So I asked her, and she answered she would hate quotas because it would be unsatisfying not to know whether she's been chosen because she's a woman or because she's a good musician. See, we would have, and now I look here because here's Danish, and there, we would have to deal with this, because she doesn't have to choose between whether she's good or woman. There must be something in between. Right, and then I said, but what about role models? And she said, I don't really know whether I need role models. And then I said, but you tend to P-Linjen, and you had role models yourself. And she said, yeah, I know. And it gave me self-confidence, but I don't really know whether I would be it myself. This is the library. Back to the library and the mistakes. Actually, this does not look like a mistake. I'm sorry. It looks fun. And it was. It's a block party outside the library. We asked the children what they wanted, and they said graffiti and rap. And we were like, wow, that's really, that's fantasy. I think we would have come up with better ideas, but we rewarded them, and we fulfilled their desires in order to develop it. I mean, it's not forbidden to professionalize the answers you get back from people when you ask them. And I hope we will do that next time. But this was the first time the librarians in Høje Taastrup actually did something new instead of just doing like this. Can I help you? So this is great. And it looks great. Look at the guy there. He's the next Basim. Basim is the one we're sending to the European Music, what is it called? Eurovision contest. And he was good. Have you asked yourself these questions? What is it about jazz that just does not sell itself to women? I know there are women, but let's play this game for a while. Maybe the jazzmen are happy without women. Maybe the touring, the drinking is a problem. I don't know. Maybe the brand frightens away women. Maybe the customers are satisfied somewhere else. You don't know. I'd like to know. I think you should ask. Right, here I end Barbara's recommendations. Girls need to play ugly tones in order to find out what works. Girls cannot learn to play together at home. Girls and boys who are great to play with are the ones that are listening. Ensemble demands energy. Be like men, they play in different constellations to become better. Not one orchestra, many orchestras. It's not mine, it's Barbara's.
Você